Hey, all right, everybody, how's it going? Now, I've got a friend who always says to me, I've got nothing against electric cars, but... Now, there's always a but, isn't there? So he says, I've got nothing against electric cars, but... And then he reels off a big long list of all the things he got against electric cars. So why are these people saying I got nothing against electric cars, but then they reel off a big huge list of what they don't like about electric cars? So I happen to have a friend who does exactly that. Every now and again he sends me a message having a bit of a rant and a bit of a rave about electric cars. Mind you, he's got nothing against them. But he gets a little bit angry, a little bit sweary. Now, I'm going to play one of the recorded messages of him having a rant, right? I've had to beep out, when you hear a beep or a honk, that's all the swearing I've had to take out. So all the swearing has been removed. I can't leave it in because YouTube wouldn't like it at all. So I've taken it all out, and the rant starts off by him complaining, right? You gotta get this into your head now, right? The rant starts off by him complaining that if he owned an electric car, he'd have to have it serviced less, and less things would go wrong with it, so it wouldn't have to be fixed as much. This is what he's complaining about. Is this the mentality of people who don't like electric cars? I don't know. I'm just going by the friend I've got. Anyway, I'll play I'll play his rant, okay? It's genuine, honest. I haven't got it from the internet. It's a genuine rant from a friend of mine, okay? I'll play the message, and then I'll try and discuss what he said after, and see if we can sort of solve some of the issues he's got and why he's so angry about it. Anyway, let's play it right now.
With the electric car revolution, let me just put my little bit on it, right? You think of all the thousands and tens of thousands of garages all around the country, right, that rely on work to change the alternators, to change starter motors, to do engine problems, to change batteries, to do things like that, right? All of them are gone. They're all gone, right? And don't say, oh, but people spring up. No, electric cars, you plug it into a meter, right? It tells you what the problem is, because there is no moving parts on it. It's a steering wheel and a battery. And you put your foot down, there's no clutches. So that's another thing that's not going to be changed, right? So all these things, right, are going to go to business. Petrol stations, right, will go to business. Because what will happen, right, supermarkets, eventually, this won't happen now, but 20, 30 years from now, supermarkets will have, outside every carport that you park into, will be a little plug-in meter. So you'll be able to plug your meter in there and toddle off and do your shopping, right? Factories, and they will have to do this, right? Because there's so many millions of houses and flats in the country, right, where you will not be able to plug your electric car into. Because there is no parking for cars. Because a lot of flats, you've got a few parking spaces, but not for all of them, right? Same as the vast array of terraced houses around South Wales, Manchester, Liverpool, where you're very, very lucky to park your car outside your house. At quiet times, remember when it's busy, because a lot of people these days have 2 or 3 cars in their property. Usually, we got 3 cars in this house, right? You got 2 cars up your house, right? I'm lucky I got to drive, right? And by the time the electric revolution comes in, I'll be dead anyway, so it's different. But you just think of all these thousands of business. I know some will spring up, right, to look after electric cars, right? But all these garages, we're just going to have garages full of car washes with... People don't think about this, do they?
Right, okay, then there we go. I had to cut the end off because he said something was a little bit... I can't put it on YouTube, so I had to cut the end bit out a little bit. I had to beep it off because he said something that I can't really play on YouTube. You can use your imagination what he said. So, like I said in the beginning, before I played the message, he's ranting and raving about that if you had an electric car, it'd need less servicing and it need less things fixed. But now let's look at that in depth though. He's saying that all garages will disappear because these electric cars are magical and they don't have other components that fail. But let's have a think now. Electric car, it still needs an MOT every year. So electric car, after the first 3 years of being new. So it still needs an MOT. Now, brakes do weigh much less on an electric car. I will give you that. I was watching one episode from, I can't remember what they were called now. Is it Kate and James or something? They got he goes around servicing cars and he's got a MG5 and it's done 100,000 miles and it's still got the same brake pads and brake discs and they haven't hardly gone down at all. That's because of regen braking. But the brakes still need to be taken off sometimes and serviced and greased because they all get stuck because they're not getting used. But there's things like brakes, brake discs, tyres, springs, windscreens get chipped, paint gets marked, dents. There's still a lot of stuff. I will say there's less stuff, and maybe garages will have to go more down. They'll have to be trained up for EVs, obviously, and they'll have to go more down the route of investigating problems and diagnostics and whatnot. But there are things within the engine bay that can be replaced and fixed as well. So there's other things. There's wipers, there's lights. I mean, the list goes on. There's still things that need fixing. And then there's it might what you lose in some businesses might change in other businesses, like battery maintenance and fixing batteries, second-hand batteries. I don't know exactly, but anyway, let's go back a minute and have a look at his second part of his rant.
These things, right, are going to go to business. Petrol stations, right, will go to business because what will happen, right? Supermarkets, eventually, this won't happen now, but 20, 30 years from now, supermarkets will have outside every carport that you park into will be a little plug-in meter. So you'll be able to plug your meter in there and toddle off and do your shopping, right? Factories, and they will have to do this, right? Because there's so many millions of houses and flats in the country, right, where you will not be able to plug your electric car into.
Right, okay then. So the second part of his rant is basically saying that there's going to be loads of chargers everywhere, right? There's going to be loads of chargers everywhere. Every single parking space is going to have a charging meter, right? That's meter, he said, right? Okay. But then he goes on to say, where's people going to charge to? So he's saying there's going to be chargers everywhere, but where's people in terraced houses going to charge? So I don't know. It's a bit of a conflicting sort of view there, isn't it? There's going to be chargers everywhere, but where are people going to charge? Now, there are a lot of councils who are sort of debating on the fact that you can have a trench in the pavement and you can sort of charge from your house. Now you're going to say, oh, you can't park outside the front of your house. But if everybody had electric cars, then you'd be a bit more accommodating, wouldn't you? Because they'd have to park outside their own house. So it might all sort itself out in the end. Now, the other part of that rant was what's going to happen to all the petrol stations, right? Now, I think it's 49% of the petrol stations are owned by supermarkets. And he just said that all the supermarkets are going to have chargers in the parking spaces. And then there's GridServe. If you know about GridServe, okay, they make supercharging hubs with 30 or more chargers, fast chargers, and they've built hubs there with shops which employ loads of people. They got shops there and everything, so they're employing people. And when people charge, there's more chance of them going in and having a cup of coffee or buying something to eat. So see, it's all sort of swings and roundabouts, right? When one job is taken away, another one is created. Or sometimes even another two are created. So he's ranting about jobs and stuff, but he's saying that this has been replaced, that's being this has been that. Remember in the beginning he said that he's moaning about owning a car that needs to have less servicing. He's moaning about that, and now he's moaning that if he has an electric car, he can't charge anywhere, even though there's going to be chargers everywhere. So you can see that is the mentality of this person. Now, I'm not trying to be nasty, but there's a lot of people out there, like my friend, who have this same sort of mentality, where they're saying something, but the thing they're ranting about is sort of contradictory to what they're trying to say. Because on one hand, he's saying, you can't charge anywhere. And on the other hand, he's going to say, there's going to be charges everywhere. So, I don't know. What's he trying to say? Anyway, I thought I'd share his rant with you lot out there. Some of you might go, oh, I agree with him, he's talking sense. No, don't. Stop it. Stop it. Don't say he's talking sense, because look, I've proved he's been, he's saying one thing, but he's fixing it with another thing. Right? And if you hear his rant and you think of any other things that I didn't pick up on, put it in the comment section. And also, don't forget to subscribe. If you subscribe, I'll try and sort of break down a few more of these myths and lies and whatever it is. And also, I will try and report on things which are don't go well in the EV world, because I'll try and do a bit of bias. I don't want to try and be like what does the McMaster say? An evangelist. I don't want to become across as an evangelist, because I do like all cars. So my background is I've been fixing cars for years. I've done a lot of electric bikes, electric motorbikes. Anyway, I'm ranting on a bit now anyway. So don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and I'll catch you in the next one. Hoo hoo hoo!